Welcome to Fast Turn Radio. So welcome to my watchers, listeners, replay catchers, and everybody in between. Gompers, what's up, man? Fist bump. I am excited tonight for lots of reasons. One, just came back from the Momentum Conference in Baltimore, put on by Greg Purdy, which was awesome. Met lots of great people. It's always about the networking. You know, you can have some of the best speakers out there, and that's cool, but at the end of the day, it's all about the networking. It's about the people. It's about the relationships. So whether it's the high-end conferences or the lower budget ones, if one is in your area, please get to it. Yes, the more you pay, usually there's some benefits to that, but the networking is the same regardless. So make sure you make it to a conference that's in your area. So I'll talk a little bit about the conference in just a couple minutes. We have the road to 500K, of course. Yeah, we'll get updated on that. And then the big reveal or guest tonight, we're going to introduce Dan Meadors to the group. So it's funny because there are tons of million-dollar sellers out there and multi-million-dollar sellers, and you haven't heard of most of them, I promise, because we just hang out on Facebook, and that's where we get to know each other for the most part. The guys making the big bucks and the ladies making the big bucks, they're not hanging out on Facebook. They're not involved in the chat and the drama and the discussions and the day-to-day activities like so many of us are. No, they're out there making that money, big money. Now, that's not to say that everybody on Facebook is not making big money. Most of us, I think, if not all, know Sam Cohen, who is a huge player and very active on Facebook. So that is not across the board. There are exceptions, but there are plenty of people that I've gotten to know through networking and through just Facebook and chats and all that kind of stuff. And, doing the Zoom and the Spreecast, people get to know me and they start to reach out to me. I reach out to them, and I get the privilege of knowing some of these people that you've never heard of. So I want to bring some of those to the forefront as time goes on and get them from behind the scenes, and maybe they can share some of their success and what has made them successful. So, all right, enough with these now, because I'm telling you, it's like bug eyes. In case you didn't see it, that's what it looks like to look through these things. It is not easy, and it is not fun, but it looks cool. All right, we got somebody trying to come on camera. I don't know if they know they're coming on camera. Okay, so real quick, I want to announce the reason for the change of the live show being limited to 100 people now. It is simply because I have to pay per 100-person tier. So 100 people costs like $50 a month. 200 people costs $90 a month. And for the last few weeks, and I did the April Fool's joke, but the fact is, the last few weeks we've been well under 100 people each week. So I was like, I'm not really going to pay just to have empty seats. So that's the reason for the limited 100. There are still plenty of people catching the replays. I am blown away by the number of people on YouTube and the SoundCloud audio replays. You guys are killing it, and I appreciate each and every one of you, especially those that give up the time to watch live, but also those that take the time to watch the YouTube videos or play the I don't know if you call it a podcast, but the audio replay at least. So thank you so much for all your time. I love seeing the numbers, knowing that people are out there watching and listening. And so thank you. But that's a reason for the limit to 100. It's nothing more or less than that. It's just unless we have, we hit that 100-person ceiling week after week, I'm not going to bump up the to the next level again, because just not that many people showing up live. And you really have no reason to. There's very little that happens live that you would otherwise not be able to see if you just catch the replay or if you catch the audio. So with that being said, let's get on with the show. We do have a special guest tonight. That's going to be Dan, and I believe his partner. He's got a whole team. So one of his partners is coming on, Eric, if things go as planned. And but first, we're going to just zip through some of the other stuff that we have to talk about. One quick note is Kohl's. I don't know if you guys are aware, Kohl's does not like resellers. Okay, plain and simple. If you put in Kohl's tax exempt into Google, you'll find where somebody asked the question, how do I buy tax exempt from Kohl's? And this is on the Kohl's website. This is not us. It's Kohl's support. or frequently asked questions or something. It comes up and it says, we do not sell to resellers. And they have been shutting down accounts from what I've been told quite a bit. And I logged into mine tonight just to make sure that it's still active. I have not been shut down, but yeah, Kohl's article was regurgitated. I will keep buying. Yes, that is not meant to tell you not to buy. It just tells you to be aware that if Kohl's deems that you're a reseller, they will shut you down. So just kind of be aware. If you don't believe me, ask Dale Sellmeyer. He will be more than happy to share his story with you because he was a power player when it came to Kohl's, and now he cannot order a pair of underwear from Kohl's. He literally tried to order a pair of underwear, just one, and they turned him down. They said, no, you might resell that pair of underwear, I guess. So it's ridiculous. And all right, so that was the little piece of news. Momentum 2015, Greg Purdy's event was awesome. Got to meet, and if I leave your name out, I will apologize ahead of time, but man, there were so many people, but I met Reed Shirk, Livia Forrester Wright, I guess it is, so Livia Wright. Got to meet Greg Murphy, who was freaking awesome. Had the pleasure of speaking with him for quite a bit, and then we went after hours and hung out for, I don't know, couple 3 hours at the local bar. That was a good time. One thing I kind of regret, I see Chris Maynard is here, was I hurt my ankle that last night that I was in Baltimore. So it's been swollen up like huge the last couple of days, and I hurt it the last night we were in Baltimore, so I had to fly back with it turned out to be a sprain. I did go to the doctor, so not too bad. It was a high ankle sprain with a small bone fracture, like one of the little tiny bones, but no big deal. But it did hobble me to the point where when Chris was coming through Savannah, I felt terrible. I was in pain, and I felt terrible for not being able to meet him. Usually if somebody comes through Savannah, it's like, yeah, let's get together. Let's at least meet, because I love to meet people, which is weird because I'm naturally an introvert. But after doing the show for so long, I've become very comfortable with the people that show up. Now, that does not mean that I am not still an introvert, because one person that I finally got the nerve to walk up to and introduce myself, because I just wanted to meet the guy, was Curtis Badorf. And I'm probably saying his last name wrong, but you guys know Curtis from the list. There we go. You guys probably know Curtis from the list, and he was in Baltimore. And it took, until right up until it was time to leave. I was like, I am not leaving without meeting him. And so I walked up and introduced myself, and that was cool. But it was just this feeling of nervousness, when you gotta walk up and introduce yourself to somebody new. So yeah, I'm definitely still an introvert when it comes to that kind of stuff. I got to see Bob Willie. Hadn't seen him in a while, so that was awesome. Who else did we see? Got to meet Sydney Richards, who I've known through coaching for quite a while, and spent just a couple minutes with her. I felt bad. Dana Sanders. I did not get to meet Cesar Papa. Cesar Papa was there, and I saw him, and I wanted to talk to him. Sat behind him pretty much the whole time, but just never kind of bumped into him. Saw Matt Kelly, Todd Forster, part of the Young Guns of FBA, as I've started calling them, but, the 100,000 a month club. So those guys were there. Agus was freaking awesome. I met him, and what a rock star he is. My God. Dude's just killing it. And he started like ground zero, and in 3 months is just putting up blistering numbers. So, yeah, and Agus got to meet my crazy sister, which, yes, she is. My sister went to the conference as well, and yes, she is crazy. Love her to death, but she's a nut. So I don't, who am I forgetting? I'll probably just remember. Of course, I saw Kelly Loach. Love Kelly to death. That's a cool dude. I met him at CES, so had the pleasure of spending quite a bit of time with him again. Let's see. The name's escaping me. Carol Garrison. Saw Carol and her husband, Keith, I believe his name is. Just the list goes on and on, guys. So I won't bore you with everybody, I guess. It's exciting to me because I was there, and these are names of people that I've always seen on Facebook, and I recognize their profile pictures. Joanne Yoder was there, who has like this Labrador picture, and I gave her a hard time because I was like, you really don't look anything like your Facebook picture. But no, it's just always so cool to be able to see people in person. And of course, KIB, who I am great friends with, and Chris Green was there. Again, the list goes on and on. We were missing our King Monkey, Jay Bain. He was sorely missed. Unfortunately, he couldn't make the trip. But man, just so many others. So yeah, it was 125 people. Bob Willie, I did say your name right, because I mean, it's always great to see you, man. Yeah, so 125 people. Seemed like 150. It was a great turnout. Stephen Peterson, Andy Slamans. My God, see, the list just goes on and on and on. It was fantastic. So lots of great speeches. Deidre Hatter, and Andy Slamans and Stephen Peterson and Chris Green were the presenters. I had 5 minutes on stage, and that was fun. Kind of wasn't really supposed to be there, but hey, I can't lie to you. I wanted to be on stage. I was kind of excited to get on stage, so I was glad that Chris called me up there because, it's kind of fun. It's a different perspective when you're standing up there and you look out and there's 100 people and they're looking at you, and it's like this adrenaline rush of nerves to kind of say something that's at least worth their time for them to listen to you. And I want to get better at that. So the only way to get better is to do it. And so it was kind of cool. And then my sister surprised me and sang happy birthday, although I won't be 40 until, about 4 days from now on the 19th. But they did an early birthday that embarrassed the crap out of me. And it was a good time all the way around. So, yes, I'm going to be 40 again. This is actually the first time I'll be 40. I can't promise it'll be the last, but it is the first. Charlene Anderson has a birthday on the 19th. Awesome. Fist bump to Charlene Anderson. April 19th. It's a great day for everybody. Oh, look, Michael Flanagan's going to be 28 again next year. Charlene's going to be, 40's a new 20, my butt. Charlene is 29. That's what I thought. I was actually thinking late 20, so I was thinking, 27, 28. But if you're 29, that's cool too. Don't worry. You're not getting that old. It's all right. So, yeah, all right. If I missed anybody, I sincerely apologize. I know there are tons of names that I'm leaving out, but it was just a blast. So thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody who attended and that came up and introduced themselves to me. Oh, Christine Ostrander. It goes on. Luann Garza's. Geez. All right. Enough. Names go on and on. But, guys, that's why you got to go to these conferences. If there's one in your area, do everything you can. Steve Rakin was there. Rakin Profits. There's another one. Just all these contacts that you make, all these people that you talk to, and it changes things. It takes it from just a picture and a profile and a chat to an actual person, and it creates a true relationship. So anyway, highly recommended. The road to 500K. Anybody want to see any numbers? Not a lot has changed since last week, but we can definitely throw some numbers up there if you would like to see them. We'll just blow through this real quickly. Let me get logged in. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them as we go through this. All right. Let's get back to the Zoom screen. All right. Nothing better than networking with people that truly understand what you're doing. Yes, that was very cool. And I do want to say something, just for anyone that was maybe there that heard this. I did ask. I said, does anyone, who here knows me? And that is not to go, well, everybody here should know me. We kind of joke about that, as a side thing. Because, I don't know, maybe a dozen people raised their hands that didn't know who I was. And I was like, how can you not know who I am? Which is a total joke. The reason you ask that is you want to know how much time to spend introducing yourself. Since out of 100 people, 90% knew who I was, I just went on with the talk instead of trying to introduce myself. I didn't see any point to that. Most people knew me. The ones that didn't, I told them to watch this show. So hopefully they're watching tonight. And but here we go with the road to 500K. Let's see how things are looking. We're going to share the screen. Bam. All right. So you see For those of you watching the replay, I think our little screen actually covers this up, but hopefully not. Let's see, we are at 20,836, our rolling 30-day. 7-day is dipped to just under 4,000. So if you kind of multiply that by the 4 weeks in a month, we're on pace for 16,000. So we've slowed down these last 7 days a little bit. That's not cool. But it's the way things are. You know, you take a little time off, you don't buy quite as much. I've gone heavy into shoes lately. So those are now hitting the warehouse. So hopefully we'll start selling 2-3 pairs a day. I'm hoping. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Last time I looked, we had sold 2 pairs today. If I start selling a couple pairs of shoes a day, I will be a happy, happy individual. So let's jump into the reports very quickly. Yeah, you see we're at 584 on the day, 550 yesterday. So we're this consistent, somewhere right around 600 a day. Yeah, 2 pairs of shoes sold, 10 grocery. You can see how much it's kind of made up of each part of today's sales. A couple items in clothing. So a little bit of everything, 6 other items. So let's check the month to date. Since we are halfway through on April 15th, we are at the $9,000 mark. So halfway through, we're on pace for 18,000. Not too bad. Not exactly where we wanted to be. Remember, my goal originally was 30,000 through the first 10 months. That is not going to happen. I'll tell you, or the first 9 months, 10 months, whatever, not going to happen. I mean, we're just so far off that pace. It's not even funny, but I do want to start consistently hitting this 20,000. So have to kick it up into gear a little bit. Real quick with the year to date. So January 1st to April 15th, and we are at 66,800 and ASP of $23. And that is what, about a little over 1.5 times where we were the same time last year. So we are looking at 40,000 through the same period last year. This year we're at 66,000. So we boosted it up a little bit. Just not quite where we need to be. I got to get my butt in gear. There's nothing more to it than that. It's just me not working hard enough. That's where the year stands. If you guys have any questions about specific things, I'm more than happy to answer them. Yeah, more shoes. Trust me, I have bought a boatload of shoes lately. I've spent a few $1,000s on those. Yeah, Denise is right. Technically, you would have to divide the units by the sales. I'm not really getting all that into it. Looks like she did the math. 2164. There you go. I keep it very simple. I mean, the number is 2337. To me, that's close enough. Up $2, down $2. I couldn't care less. That puts me in the neighborhood. But yes, technically, you are absolutely right. You should take the total sales divided by the total units. What Amazon does is total sales divided by the number of orders. So if somebody orders 2 things at once, it kind of skews the number. Ashley says, can you remind me where your sales ended last year? Sure, I can show you. If we go to year to date, it'll actually show you last year's year to date overall. So last year we did 215,000. So that was the entire year last year. This year we are at 66,000 halfway through April. So 3.5 months into it. No problem at all. She said, thank you. You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. Show you what we did last year. So the first year we did about 100,000. Second year, 215. This year we're shooting for 5, doubling year over year. That's the path we're trying to get on. Whether or not I hit that 500,000, I don't know. It's going to be close. All right. So anything else before we jump off here and get to the reason I think so many of you showed up? Okay, last year was Q4 toys your biggest seller. It was close between toys and grocery. I did a ton of a ton of grocery, and I would have to, I guess we can pull last year's data, can't we? So let's go back to, what do you want? You want November, December, or do you want October too? Because October to me almost doesn't matter. We can do October, I guess, through December 31st. I don't have to guess. I can tell you. There you go. So it depends how you want to look at it. We sold more grocery. We sold more units of grocery than we did toys. We had higher sales volume off of the toys than we did the grocery, though. So whichever way you want to look at that, we sold more groceries, but we had about $10,000 more in toys. We sold $42,000 in toys in the fourth quarter, $32,000 in grocery, $10,000 in clothing, and then down the list from there. Michael Flanagan says, I don't have a choice but to hit 500K. Yeah, Charlene Anderson is exactly correct. You can hit 500,000 without selling a single toy. Absolutely. Were you selling mostly seasonal groceries? Yes, most of my groceries were seasonal. It is very easy to sell certain kinds of foods at Christmas time, certain kind of foods at Easter, at Valentine's. There are seasonal groceries throughout the year, so it's not just Bob Willie said in a partridge in a pear tree. It is not simply, Christmas grocery. I mean, there is seasonal grocery throughout the year. So you could do very well with grocery. You can do very well without any grocery whatsoever. The question I get a lot is, how many, what category should I focus on for fast turns? There's a top 100 in every category. Every category has fast turns. Every category has the potential of making you a millionaire. It's just what you're comfortable with, what you choose to focus on. Giant peanut butter cups. Yes, those can make a nice sum of money if you get them sold on time. And if not, you make a whole lot of friends. So either way, it's a win-win. Yeah, I cannot imagine hitting 500K without grocery. You can. You could. I mean, there's clothing sellers that do $1 million a year. There's clothing sellers that do, shoe sellers that do $1 million a year. There are people doing every category, doing millions of dollars a year in those categories. Yeah, and Charlene says she doesn't sell toys or grocery, so definitely. You can sell whatever you want. Sexual wellness, there you go. I don't know what's in the boxes, but Bob Willie's saying that sexual wellness, pallets full, can get you there. So don't perseverate on what I'm selling. I just show you because, and look at this. One thing real quick, and then we are going to get to our guest tonight because I want you guys to have plenty of time for our guests. But so far, product sales, wrong button. Product sales, look at all these categories that we've sold in so far. I mean, that's just about all of them. It from tools to toys, home improvement, baby, pet supplies. Yes, that's right. You heard it. Baby. I have sold. I mean, it's everything. We've sold sports and outdoors, office products. It's everywhere, guys. Even automotive. We sold one automotive product. Let's see. Bam. There it is. Just one. But we sold an automotive. So, yeah, we're all over the place. We're selling just a little bit of everything. So whatever seems like it has some margin, we'll put it up there. Money to be made in every category. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to stop the screen share. And Dan, are you on? Are you out there? Dan, is it Meadors or Meadors? I probably ought to ask you. Hang on. I got to unmute you. Unless you want to unmute yourself. It's Meadors. All right.
Yes, sir. My glasses aren't as awesome as yours, but I wanted to wear some glasses to kind of match the show.
Yeah, well, at least you can see. It doesn't matter whether it's the Moan Minimum or the Fast Turn Radio. Can't see out of any of them. They're all bug-eyed. It's
you
like,
guys actually see me?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Look at Mindy said his ASP is up to $83. That's incredible, man. Oh, we topped out at 100 participants. How about that? Dan, you blew the show out of the water, man. Everyone showed up to see you.
That's awesome.
We haven't pulled 100 people in weeks, and now it's like, oh, man, I want to be there. Yeah, now people are going to be sending me PMs going, I tried to join and I couldn't. It's all because of you, man.
Well, we hope we don't let them down. But
yeah, so let me do a quick introduction. For those that do not know Dan, like I said, there are so many million-dollar sellers that you guys just do not know exist, and Dan is one of them who quietly is just killing it this year. On pace to do a multi-million-dollar year, mostly wholesale, and large volume buys, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe some liquidation is mixed in there, but I'm going to let him explain what his business is. But he's based out of Kentucky, right? Corbin, Kentucky, I think. So based out of Kentucky, which not a big city.
No, about 5,000 people.
There you go. So this can be done anywhere. It is not. But, I hear that excuse a lot, and I'm sorry, it is an excuse. And it's one that I've used myself. We see these people putting up big numbers like, well, they've got 12 of everything. Well, that's no longer an excuse, because you, in the middle of nowhere, 5,000 person town, Kentucky, is absolutely killing it. So why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, take it away, tell people what you want them to know about you.
Well, like Duane said, I'm Dan Meadors. We've been selling on Amazon for, I guess, about 4 years now. We started in late 2011. And when we started our account, we actually had full-time jobs. And I think we did about $60,000 in that December with full-time jobs. And it was all through retail arbitrage. And we decided, Amazon had some legs, so we kind of wanted to give it a run. And we both left our jobs, and we had pretty high-paying jobs for Kentucky. My wife was not very happy when I told her that I was now going to be selling as a rogue, buying at retail stores and selling on Amazon. So, she didn't have any idea what the process was, but it was, that year was very exciting for us. It was, all of our sales were through retail arbitrage. We didn't do any wholesale purchasing, any closeouts, liquidations, anything like that. And I think we hit, Eric, I don't actually know if it even goes back that far, but in 2012, I think we hit about 865,000 through retail arbitrage.
So you went from 60 to 180, from 60 to 800?
Yeah. We only did October, November, December in 2011. Like, we had never heard of Amazon before then. Well, as far as being able to sell on it, like, obviously we'd heard of it, but we are from Kentucky, but
not that backward though.
Right. We had heard of Amazon. We just we didn't know even you could even have third-party sellers until a couple months before that, and then we started exploring it and stuff like that. But and then 2014, we started experimenting just a taste with, or 2013, I'm sorry, with a couple of wholesale stuff, but we didn't really do anything. But we did some other stuff, like we wanted to set up a local store and stuff like that. And so our 2013 was a bit muddled because we were concentrating on all these crazy projects. Like, we just had a lot going on. And I think we ended at like 940 on Amazon. But that year we were also selling on eBay too and using multi-channel fulfillment. But and then in 2014, that's whenever we were, by then we'd actually built up a pretty good bankroll. As far as having money to be able to spend, and we were tired of being on the road like constantly. To do 800 plus and retail arbitrage is very hard. Like, you have to really commit yourself to just driving all over the country, and unless you're just way better than us, and I'm sure there's tons of people that are. But we had to drive. 4 days a week we were on the road. And then it's just me and Eric. And Eric's also on here too. I imagine he'll pop on in a little bit.
Yeah, he's welcome to join at any time.
But it was just us. We were split shift driving, fill up our van. We actually bought a new van in 2013 too to help us with the retail arbitrage. But and that was just to we'd get back, we'd take a day off, spend it with the family, and then go and ship products. We'd just pack, ship. And 2014, we were like, gosh, this is so tiring. We make great money, but it's just so tiring. We need to come up with another system. And that's whenever we started. We wanted to really set it up for wholesale, like focus on, how learning to do it, like instead of just the dabbling we'd done the year before. Mm-hmm. So we took some time, and I don't think we actually.
Hang on. That was my fault. I was trying to unmute Eric, and I muted you. So hang on just a second. There, we got you unmuted.
Okay.
Let's try to get Eric now. Having some technical difficulties. All right. Eric, it's not showing that you have a video camera, but we are going to unmute you. You can come on mic. Eric, can you say something?
Dylan. See if you can help Eric set up
Okay.
his video camera.
No, I've got audio now at least.
Okay, yeah, you've got audio. Okay, so I'm sorry. Go ahead. Now that I interrupted your role. All right, so we're in 2014. What's going on?
2014, we really wanted to kind of mix things up and be able to stay at home a bit more and not just constantly be on the road. So we talked about how we wanted to do wholesale, and it literally months of mapping this out. We actually got got authorized by Amazon for a second account, and we were going to set that account up as a wholesale only account so we could track its progress and just not have anything mixed in to just learn. I mean, that's all it was for us. Is really just so far is just a learning process. But I think we actually started selling on our wholesale account last year. And I think our first sale was around July 15th or something like that. And then I believe that month we did on the wholesale account alone, we did Chris. Yeah, I'll just take a question here in the middle. It wasn't very difficult. Like we had to tell Amazon why we needed the second account. And one of the main reasons we wanted the second account was so we could have they will almost automatically authorize you for a web store by Amazon. And that was to help us get other accounts. But I mean, that's the reason we gave to Amazon is we wanted a web store and we wanted it to be a specific product set. But so anyway, they authorized us. But on that account, I think we did 11,000 our first month, and then our second month we did something like maybe 23,000 or something like that. And then third month was really good. We did 40 something thousand, and then 80,000. But then like we hit our other account is really weighted towards quarter four. Like we do more than 50% of our sales because that account's primarily toys, and we do more than 50% of our sales. So we kind of didn't concentrate very much in quarter four and didn't gain any sales. I think December we only did 77 on this account, on our new wholesale account. But since the beginning of the year, I mean, we have had month over month growth, and it's been incredible. Like and one important thing to say, I guess, is whenever we set up our wholesale account, we actually wanted to do it in a category that we didn't have experience in, so we could literally learn the system. Like that was our goal, is to learn more than to, we cared less about the sales than we did about the process. And then that was that was the most important thing to us. So
hang on, you made 77,000 by accident. That's what
no, it wasn't by accident. Like we definitely had criteria for product selection and stuff like that. But we fine-tuned that so much. I mean, our criteria for product selection today is just astronomically different than it was 7 or 8 months ago.
Yeah, I just know I'm sitting here struggling. You see my numbers doing like 20,000 rolling 30-day, and you're like, yeah, we did 77,000 on cruise control, because we weren't really trying. It just, it just kind of happened.
I mean, but in all fairness to you, I mean, you're constantly coaching and stuff, and like you said, we're recluses.
Dude, whatever, just run with it. Don't try to make excuses for me. You hustle. Yeah. That's why. That's why you guys are kicking my butt.
But I mean, the biggest thing for us was learning the processes. And then in December, we hired employees. And we hired our first employee in December of last year, and that we actually hired 2 at the same time. And one of them we hired to pack and ship orders and just basically try to move our stuff out of don't leave cost of goods. That's a term we throw around, but that's just cost on hand. We don't want it sitting in our warehouse. We want it on its way to Amazon so we can promote the growth. Like we want to keep feeding the machine. And the other part was we hired someone to work with us on sourcing. And the kid we hired actually didn't have any previous experience. Like he worked at a retail video game store, and he had never bought a product from anybody. But as we were learning this process, that was the awesome part, is because you're essentially starting with a blank slate. We were able to work with him. I lost my chat window, but we were able to work with him. And
I was going to jump in just real quick. I said I was going to jump in real quick here and answer Michael's question. He said we just moved into a new warehouse. We've had 2 different ones. We moved into a big one and bought a forklift. Currently, it's 10,000 square feet. And then how difficult is it to find a wholesale supplier? It's actually not very difficult at all, and they're almost all domestic. We've recently started private labeling, and that's came foreign. We've had products shipped from the UK before, some toys that were primarily UK only, but you obviously have expatriates over here that want those type of toys. So we have done some importing from the UK, but generally it is all domestic.
Yeah. So you guys just moved in. How big is your warehouse, did you say?
The current one is 10,000 square feet.
Okay.
I believe that's just a warehouse space in there. Like
that's warehouse space. Yeah, that's and like 2,000 office space or something like that.
Our previous building was, I think, 3,200 square feet or 3,000. It was a lot smaller, but when we were really gearing up to do this volume, and we moved into this building in January. And we wanted the space to be able to utilize things like forklifts and be able to move our products much faster.
All right. Chris has another good question here. He said, do you look for places that are geographically close to you? I found a wholesaler the other day that is on the other coast, and shipping seems rather steep.
For us, that's not really. As far as it doesn't really matter to us where they are geographically. Some are beneficially, it's a benefit if they're close to us. But we, Charlene just said it right there. We try to really negotiate those shipping rates. We're constantly hammering on trying to get the best price, and we're willing to. Now that we're a lot more comfortable, we're willing to place pretty big orders. Like I think the other day, there was somebody that didn't want to give us an account, and we told them that our opening order was going to be $12,000, and they were, oh, well, you guys can have an account. Thank you very much. So that's one of the things is, if there is flexibility in negotiating those rates. There is flexibility in volume discounts. There is flexibility just everywhere. You just have to work for it.
Yeah. If you order a case of something, people are not likely to really work with you. But when you order multiple pallets, it's funny how they're not going to let $500 stand between you and that $10,000. It's a volume play as far as I can tell. Now I say that like I know this stuff. I only know that because of you. And for people that don't know, we've been talking quite a bit over the last few months. I've gotten to know Dan a little bit about the operation. Hopefully one of these days I'll make it out there to see you guys. But I've learned, one case, even one pallet, they're not going to bat an eye. 4, 5, 6 pallets, you're going to get some attention.
They start wanting to work with you a little more, the higher volume. And it's understandable. But it's not just about volume. Part of it's really focusing on developing a relationship. If you develop a relationship with your reps, they're going to work with you as much as they can. One of the reps that we were working with the other day actually told us that our discount is bigger than Amazon's currently. And Amazon orders about 75 times as much as we do. So,
they just like you guys,
right? But it's all about. He said we were in the highest discount tier with them, but it was because we're on the phone talking to them. We act like humans. We're not robots, and we really focus on relationships a lot.
See, now there's a classic misnomer as far as I'm concerned. Martha says wholesalers don't like selling to Amazon. Okay. I kind of misread that. I thought she was saying selling to us who sell on Amazon. But yeah, you may be right. Actually, I apologize. From some of the wholesalers I've talked to, they don't like to deal with Amazon. Amazon beats down prices. They break MAP. They are actually not very good customers, according to a lot of the people I've talked to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan. What you got?
If I miss somebody, if we miss somebody's question, just repeat.
Yeah, I was going to tell you that Michael asked a minute ago. If we work on each, like one business, or we have each work on an account separately, it's just one business. We're changing so rapidly. Like Dan says, our sales ramped and we've grew so fast that our business is really dynamic. It changes, almost day to day, really, and like what operations we handle and where we're hiring employees. It's a really exciting time for us. But yeah, we currently, it's just all under the umbrella of one business, despite having multiple accounts.
I think I don't want to say your name wrong. I'm really. I saw a question from Agus. Yes,
I met him this weekend. Cool guy. He's on fire.
was, are you concerned about if they know about we sell on whether we sell on Amazon or not? We actually tell them 100% of the time that we do sell on Amazon. That's we're very upfront about it, and it gets easier. I thought I heard some back, but it gets easier the more accounts you actually have. It's really hard at first to set up our first 10 accounts, but now that we have a lot of accounts, we have a lot of references, and we're some of our reps, we actually have their cell phone number and was like, hey, you can just give this guy a call. He can tell you we play by the rules. We place good orders. We'll work with you if we see people breaking your map. We'll tell you and even help you try to find out who it is. So we want to be upfront with them because we want them. In the instance that there was something they didn't authorize a seller or something like that, we want to be the authorized guy.
Yeah, the last thing you want is to hide the fact that you're selling on Amazon. Order a pallet full or whatever quantity. Have it, possibly even sitting at the Amazon warehouse when they figure out you're selling on Amazon, and then they just pull your product and they tell you you're not an authorized seller. You do not. Not known people to do that. Where they have placed these big orders, they've gotten the product, and then they went, oh, wait a minute, we didn't know you were an Amazon seller. You can't sell our product. It creates a mess. Be upfront with people. Tell them, once you get to that rep. Now, I would not send an email saying, hey, I'm going to sell on Amazon. But once you've started that relationship and you're talking to your rep, be upfront. Tell them you're selling on Amazon. So if there is any issue, you're not out of money when it finally comes to light that you're selling on the platform.
I'll tell you another thing that has been worked well for us. Like Dan mentioned, we needed an Amazon web store. So we set up an actual a website address that our Amazon products feed to. Now, we don't get a lot of sales on this, but we're able to tell them that we're going to sell on Amazon and our website, and we can link them to the website. And it's a legit website. It looks really nice, actually, but there's not much revenue generated. But I mean, it is the truth. I mean, it is going to be listed on our website, and hopefully people do buy from it. But realistically, obviously, we're selling it. We're buying it to sell on Amazon.com.
Jasserome.
Just run with it.
I apologize. I'm slaughtering your guys' names, but when we order a pallet or more, we generally have it delivered to us. Our wholesale account we did set up as labeled. I know there's a lot of debate about what labeled versus non-labeled, and I honestly have no idea which is the correct way. We wanted it. The reason we set ours up as labeled is we sell a lot in health and personal care, and a lot of that's labeled anyway. And we wanted it to be uniform for our employees. So I have no idea. Our other account's is non-stickered, so we've never been in trouble or anything like that. So I couldn't tell you which one's right. We just wanted more uniformity. But so no, we don't ship it to Amazon. We generally have it shipped to us. But on our other account where we're starting to develop some wholesalers for that account as well. Now we are having we do have a couple of them shipped to Amazon, but it's for the most part it's generally having it shipped to our warehouse. But we try to work it out so free shipping and stuff like that. That's generally factored into the prices we're paying.
Yeah, you guys are definitely doing things that most of us are not. We talked about a certain company where if you start to buy in bulk, they have basically hidden pricing. So if you hit a certain level, they won't really tell you up front. You'll think that you're getting the highest tier or the lowest tier, I guess, pricing. But, if you order just a little bit more, there's actually breaks to be had. And if you don't mind, I'll tell them our experience as far as shipping for you and for me. All right. Dan actually offered one of his products for me to go in on and buy. Fantastic opportunity. Great selling product. Everything lines up. Going to knock it out of the park because these guys know what they're doing, and I get to go along for the ride. And I do. I still do. There's a big but. But when we looked at the invoices side by side, because of the way that they're receiving their products and it's going to their warehouse, they don't have to pay a lot of the lift gate charges, residential delivery, the stuff that gets added into me. I ended up paying about $275 more to have it delivered to me than Dan did. And then on top of that, my outbound shipping, because I'm going to send these as single units, not multiple pallets. Like I'm sure, Dan, when you're ready to ship, you're just going to have a bunch of pallets that all go in together.
If we receive pallets, I mean, if we receive multiple pallets of product, we generally ship out in pallet form.
Okay.
But we do ship a lot of parcel too.
All right. So and that's another thing. Your location in Kentucky is like right down the road from the warehouse. So you're shipping it like 2 hours away, where I'm shipping it several states away. So all this gets factored in, and I looked at their margins and I looked at my margins on the exact same product, and I went, man, you guys are killing it. There is a lot of power in that bulk buying on the freight charges, on the ability to drive down the price itself. And you guys just blew me away when I did side-by-side comparison to see what you can do with the right setup versus me working out of my garage. So not to tell everybody to go buy a warehouse tomorrow, but man, it opened my eyes to, I mean, I'm going to end up spending several $100s that you don't have to. And that's straight out of my pocket, really, or the business's pocket. That's profit that you guys will make that I won't. And it was just very eye-opening the way that all worked out.
I was going to jump in here and answer a couple of questions I saw. Kenya asked how we met. A condensed version is I've known Dan since he was a kid, like 12 or 13 years old. He
way older than me.
I'm very much older than Dan, and I ran a little gaming store. He came in and played. Years later, I ran into him again, and we worked at the same in the same industry at the same place before we started Amazon. So in the most recent, we worked together about a year at the same. Are going to be our last employer of our life at this point, but. So we worked together for a year and then started our Amazon business. But I've known him for years since he was a kid. And then somebody else asked recommendations for wholesale trade shows. Realistically, it's just about confidence. And I mean, we've been to ASD, we've been to some in the Midwest, we've been to several. And we're going to go to many more this year. That's what I'm saying about our business being dynamic. Is we're going to go back to some trade shows that we didn't have a whole lot of success with early on. We didn't have the capital. We didn't have experience in other categories. We didn't have confidence, as it were. And so now we have, the ability to sell in just about any category, and we're just, confident with what we're going to be able to do. So we're going to visit any shows, but realistically, it's just going up and seeing and talking to the people. Like, they're people first. I mean, they're there to make sales, and they want to make sales, So that's really the best advice I could give for that.
And you primarily find your sources through trade shows, or is it through Amazon? Is it?
I mean, we've got some really awesome trade show vendors that we found that we still work with a lot, but most of it's mostly we have a pretty solid method for just searching them out. A lot of Google searching, a lot of calling, a lot of things like that. Actually, I want to touch on one of the things Eric just mentioned. We were talking about a specific show we're going to today. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't mind us telling what is it? It's T something C.
TMC, I think it is. It's in Chicago.
But Eric, I actually went to that one last time, and Eric couldn't go for some reason. He may have been sick or something like that. And he asked me, he's like, was the show good? And I was like, I mean, it's so hard to say. I mean, the last time I was there, I was trying to buy – I was so scared to buy this one. It was an amazing product. I don't even remember what it was. But they only wanted to sell all of it. And it was 500 units, and it's $8 a unit. I was like, wow, no way, guys, no way. And it's like, when we're looking at it from that perspective, it's a completely different show than it is now. Like, we would, same product, we would snap take it and just be able to sell it and be confident in it. But at the time, we weren't confident in our ability to move products.
Yeah,
that's one of the things is just being confident.
Yeah, having $100,000 budget or whatever yours is, I honestly have no clue, but just for comparison's sake, having a $100,000 budget and spending $4,000 on a product, not a big deal. $10,000 budget, spending $4,000 on a product, same exact product, same scenario, I'd tell you to run. Do not make that deal, because if that product crashes, your business just fell apart. So yeah, it's definitely going to give you a different perspective. So just what kind of tips, and we've only got a few minutes here, and I can't believe how quickly this hour has gone by. But give a couple of tips, if you don't mind. The person sitting at home that's doing $100,000, $200,000, how can they shift, maybe not to $2 or $3 million a year, but how can they make the shift to do $500,000 Tell me how to get to $500,000. There we go. Let's use me as an example.
Honestly, Duane, for you, I promise you, 30% of your problem will be solved by getting a warehouse. That's one of the things is having a physical location to deal with your products, have your products shipped, things like that. A lot of it is it's just basic scaling. Like for us, I think the biggest part of what's the difference today as opposed to 6 months ago is processes. And we focus heavily on processes and trying to maximize our cash flow. Like we don't want product to be sitting in our warehouse. We want it to be at Amazon, ready to sell, and keep our money moving. That's the thing is try to keep your money liquid. What is somebody asked the question? What is needed to start wholesale? I mean, a lot of accounts have $250, $500 minimums, but it's a sliding scale because you're going to have to be a lot more selective because if you're placing the min orders, there's probably people getting better pricing than you. So I mean, if you're placing the minimum orders, you'll probably want to be looking for products that have maps that prevent sellers from utilizing their price advantage. So those sellers can make extra margin, but at the same time, you want to be able to compete. You don't want to be out of the game. So look for, if you're starting with a small budget, and it's definitely possible. I think when we started our project, we started it with $5,000 or $6,000 as a test, just to test the waters, and just to see how the product sold through and things like that. She asked what a MAP is. MAP is minimum advertised price. A lot of people or companies have minimum advertised pricing because they don't want you to damage their brand by selling it cheaper. Because ultimately, they try to focus on brick and mortar a lot. But honestly, the biggest thing for us was processes and just being confident. I'll be honest with you. It sounds cliche and ridiculous and all the crazy things, but just having confidence, knowing you have a system in place to find products, a system in place to get your products moving, and you're confident that you can sell through your volumes. You'll do more than you think you can.
I want to mention something real quick about wholesaling and moving from retail arbitrage. It's not necessarily about the money that you have to start off of investing. The key to growing wholesale, though, is you have to be in a position to not take any of the profits or as little of the profits out of the company so that you can continue to reinvest it and grow it, because that's how wholesale grows so fast. We were fortunate that our capital had grown to the point where we could continue to reinvest the majority of our profits, outside of overhead. When retail arbitrage, you can make you a nice living, get you some good extra money, and just have much more money than you could ever make at a job, and that's fine. You're taking that out each month, and your reinvestment is minimal. With wholesale, you want to continue to grow it at a rate because your margin is going to be significantly smaller than the retail arbitrage because you want to move more units at a time, and so you want to be able to reinvest more money. So like I say, the thing is you just got to make sure that you want to move to the wholesale direction. It's less about how much money you have to put up, more about are you willing to reinvest the majority of your profits back in the next time.
One of the first comments you posted a very true statement. Test wide by deep. We do that a lot. Like I believe our test orders, like we were placing a test order today. I mean, our test orders today are maybe 30 to 60 units, even if the sales rank. Like we want to literally visually see the product sale, and we want to visually see what prep goes into products.
That's huge.
That's shown up, and it's just like, oh, what did we get ourselves into?
Yeah,
and you don't want to have 1,000 units of that product, but we do that. I mean, we test wide, and then if it's a good product and we're confident in it, we're willing to we have the confidence now to hammer down. So.
Yeah, there's nothing like thinking you're getting something that's, this big, like tiny little thing, and it comes and it's like this, and it weighs, the packaging, whatever, said 2 pounds, and when you pick it up, you're like, no, that's like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
You do not want a lot of that. That's so, yeah. There's something to putting your hands on the actual product.
Well, we've ordered things before too, and the Amazon picture clearly shows a plastic bottle. It comes in its glass, and now it requires bubble wrap and a bag and a label. So all that stuff adds up, particularly when you're talking. That's things to be mindful of in wholesale margins. Is that you don't have as many liberties as you do with retail arbitrage. So you really need to pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
And Michael just posted something. Shipping LTL, and that's part of having a warehouse. That helps. You don't have to do it. I mean, we were receiving pallets in our other building fine. It just requires a lot more elbow grease. We were lifting them off, and not we were. That's how we were avoiding paying for lift gates, Duane. Is you just don't tell them you want one, and then you lift it off when it gets there. And
Sure,
it's terrible. But so I mean, that's when we were getting started, we were doing this stuff.
Start sliding the stuff down a ramp, huh? Just unbox it on the truck.
Line up 3 guys and just hand them off. Yeah. Well, if he's like he said, shipping LTL is much cheaper. Now, with the one in the instance you're talking about, I was actually thinking about how can we get your cost down, because I promise this product is lightning. It's amazing. But we need to get your costs in line, and it's like I'm pretty sure once we spread out and run through the product fairly well, that we just ramping up the order to 4 pallets, because like Michael said, your first pallet's like $150, $200. Your second pallet might be $75. Your third pallet and fourth pallet are usually $25, $35. And that's where you really, really start saving. And then that's the same when you're shipping into Amazon. Say, you're past 2 pallets is where you start really saving money.
Right.
Do we test products with RA? I mean, we probably should, but we're so enamored with wholesale in general right now that we're very, maybe too confident sometimes, but we're very confident in our ability to pick winners or pick products that move. Like, that's the thing is we're not going. If we lose money on a product, it happens, and whatever, we're out of it, and we just find a new product. So but for the most part, we're pretty confident in our ability to select products at this point.
That's fantastic. Yeah, all right, last question, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
All right. Last question I read is, do we buy products new to market or proven ranks? I bought one new product, new to market last week, but it was more of a favor to the manufacturer that sells us a product that's amazing. So for the most part, we're generally going with very, very proven ranks.
Yeah, I was going to say this earlier. Now it's even a better time. The first conversation we had, you said, you're the fast turn guy, but we're kind of doing what you're doing on steroids. Like we just took it to a whole different level, which you absolutely did. And that doesn't really happen with new to market products. I mean, I guess it can, but for the most part, you guys are finding stuff that, the track record's there, the history's there, the proven sales are there. All you got to do is plug into it, beat your competition with the margins, and you're going to fly through them all day long. And it's amazing to see what you guys have done. Now, August got one more question. Maybe the question for us is, who are you used to? The question for us, who are so used to doing RA, is that we are scared to do wholesale if we haven't tested RA yet. So, yeah, that fear of just jumping straight into a multi-case order or a pallet order or whatever. I don't know if you have an answer to that. To me, you just got to do it.
Well, it's definitely a viable method to test, and it's probably actually wiser to do so than we do. But for most part, right now, we're looking to scale so fast. We're looking to literally drive our sales, and we're willing to take losses now. We have a more of a I guess terrible words, bankroll, but we can absorb small losses, and they don't kill us. But yeah, buying something at Walmart, making sure it sells, physically seeing that product and processing it. Yeah, it's definitely viable.
One of the best ways I've found products is
right, Duane.
What's that?
I said that's the last question I'm allowed to answer. They're rolling in now.
Yeah, now they're flying in. I do want to keep it at an hour. Do you guys want to come back with that?
If they want us, but have us back, I'm sure. Dan loves to talk, so I'm sure he'd love to be back.
Yeah, I think I can tell who the talker in the group is. Of course, I'm always running my mouth, so I'm used to being. But
Eric, actually, I'm very shy. It's usually Eric. He's he's a lot less shy than me. But I actually love the format. I love the questions and stuff like that. It's exciting.
All right. Well, how about that? You guys want to do it next week, or you want to set it further down the road? I would kind of like to have you back next week, since everybody now knows where you're starting from. We can jump in next week, just start hitting the questions.
We can definitely do it.
we can put some numbers together because, guys, they are going to blow you away with what their account, like month to date is and all that. If you guys.
I'll just go ahead and give you a small spoiler. I just did Q1 sales taxes last week, and we came in at $625 for Q1. Yeah.
Yeah, $625. That's
a little more than that.
We're trying our best to scratch our legs.
Yeah, you just keep working hard. You'll get there. My God, guys, that's incredible. $625,000 in Q1. That is that's beyond impressive. So
I just wanted to say it was a complete blast. I expected this to be fun, but I had a lot of fun talking to you guys. You guys are great, and I look forward to next week already. So.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind coming back, I would love to. That way we can keep it at an hour because that's what I found is just kind of the audience attention span is right at that hour mark. But we've got a great setup for next week. We'll bring you guys right on and have another good 45 minutes to, maybe I'll just give you the whole show. Forget the road to 500K. Who cares? You guys can tell us how to do 500K in 3 months.
I actually like the road to 500K because that's now it's a goal of ours. To help you find that 500K. So.
All right. Well, I appreciate the help. I'll take all the help I can get. I'm not above asking for some assistance along the way. So, all right, Dan, Eric, thank you guys very much. And sounds like we'll see you next week. Everybody in the chat room, I'm not going to run through all the names. You guys know who's here. We hit the 100, which we hadn't hit for weeks, and that's why I downgraded the account. Now it looks like we were busting at the seams. But guys, we'll do it again next week. We'll pick up. So bring your questions. Now you know Dan, you know Eric, you know where they're coming from. Let's find out how to do what they're doing. So, all right, guys, we will see you next week on Fast Turn Radio, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Thanks for showing up, and we'll see you later.
My screen changes to just you.